Oh, aren't you lucky? You have joined an Equity.Guru investor roundtable today talking about Element Nutritional Sciences. Get healthy, people. What are you waiting for? ELMT on the Canadian Exchange. Rob down here in the basement with TK, who's making mixed drinks off camera, of course. CP, Chris Perry, the guru himself, upstairs in the penthouse. Aren't you lucky? Or maybe it's skill. And
Funny noisy downstairs.
It is noisy. Hey, take it easy over there, TK. Michelle, the gold man, living large as well up there with his
Turn down the Walking on Sunshine. It's been on repeat all morning.
His piles of bullion. All right. ELMT. Chris has written about these fellas. He's going to be writing again about them again shortly, right here on the Equity.Guru site. But right now, he's going to tell us all about them.
Well, so Element Nutrition is a company that has created a beverage drink called Rejuvenate Muscle Health. It's in the same category as Boost and Ensure. You've probably seen them in every single drugstore, every single grocery. They are on every goddamn old person's nutritional supplement shelf. So Rejuvenate came along, put out a product that was basically a dissolvable supplement, tested the waters, went well, got into every damn store around. They're in 16,000, I think, stores right now across North America. They've got an Asia-Pacific distribution agreement in play. They just announced a big deal with Sam's Club. Sam's Club would not allow them to put the number figure out on their news release, but I have it on good authority that it is an impressive one, and will be backed up really quickly. So results are coming, financials coming for Element quickly. I'm not sure whether that deal will be reflected in those results or the next one, but things are positive. Not so positive on the share price. Look, when you've only got one product, and a lot of people on the markets right now aren't necessarily at a point of life where they're going to need to try the product, you might have a little bit of hard time getting that through as a saleable opportunity. Listen, they've recently released their ready-to-drink beverage, which increases the number of shelves that the product is on. The Sam's Club deal is a bulk deal, right? So when you go to Sam's Club, it's like going to Costco. You don't buy one product, you buy a pallet of products. So if they're in Costco, if they're in Sam's Club, you're going to suddenly get a large amount of people ordering or taking away a large amount of product, which is good. Also, the product is proving effective. 25 clinical trials say that it helps reduce muscle loss in seniors. Even if you don't do exercise, it reduces muscle loss. If you do exercise, it improves muscle retention or gain even. So, someone at my age, boys, with all this white stuff on my head, everything hurts. And anything that can make me get up in the morning with a little bit more energy, a little bit less sugar, no lactose, organic, no GMO, no gluten, all the stuff that I don't want to get. Now, the Boost and Ensure products, they've got that stuff. They've got sugar, they've got calories. Rejuvenate is the low-calorie, no sugar, no gluten version of all that stuff, which if you're in the category where you need these products, chances are pretty good that you want this type of product, right? You don't want to be fixing one thing and making another thing worse. Gee, I've got a lot of energy in the morning, but my diabetes is shot to hell. So they've done some smart thinking on this product. Now, until they've got financials that show increasing revenues month after month, profits month after month, the market's going to yawn and it's going to say, not this time, daddy. But as that financial situation starts to really improve, and as people see the product in stores and even, dare I say, try the product, chances are pretty good that this thing really starts picking up. They're planning a sports nutritional product. They're planning an immunity boost product. Now that they have those channels into the big stores and online and internationally, it's easy to move more SKUs through and to develop more uses for the technology that they have. I'm not going to say that if you invest in this thing tomorrow that it's going to go up the next day, because the Sam's Club news was not met with a massive buyout. It was met with a small drop, if truth be told. So people are waiting for numbers, not getting them because these big chain box stores, they don't release the numbers, right? They don't want you riding on their coattails in your news release. You can say you got a deal. You can say the product is there. and you can say how much you sold as a group, but, hey, we sold $1.7 trillion worth to Sam's Club. Can't do that. So a little bit of patience is required. I will say that we thought it was a good deal when it was at 80 cents. I think it's a stinking good deal at 44 cents. But, hey, it's tax loss selling season, might be a little downward pressure. Keep it on your watch list. Keep looking for those financials. If the financials this coming week show a big increase, this thing might just do a little bit of leapfrogging off 44.
Speaking of financials, TK, what are you thinking ahead of what we're going to hear?
Awesome. I would be looking at 4 quadrants because of the business it's in, or the business model. Would be the production and research, which for them, they're already commercialized. So I would look at how much they mark up their products, which is basically how much they need to add on top of their costs to cover overhead and make a profit, quote unquote. So if you do like a rough analysis, it's between 30 to 45% markup. And if you compare that to, for example, other brands, this is on the higher side because of the niche that they're in. It allows them to price up like that and still have the demand match their supply. So going on to that, they also need to spend on marketing dollars. And they do that through e-commerce and other ad spend that they do. But they sell on Amazon, their own personal website. So both Amazon in Canada, Amazon in the US as well, not including the other distribution channels. Leading on to that is the distribution itself. So there's a point they put in their financials here that I find pretty interesting. So they currently are a vendor in the US for Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, and I can't pronounce this one, but Meijer, Meier.
Meier.
Yeah, Meier.
Big in the Midwest, big in Detroit, Meier.
Yeah. I was like, I completely blanked on the name. I was like, I'm not even going to look it up. That represents
coming from Takudzwa, Medicina.
I know. It's the irony. But this whole distribution chain gives them 240,000 potential distribution points just in the US. And then in Canada, they have Loblaws, Shoppers Drug Mart, and Rexall, which is about 4,000 potential distribution points. So, the production is great. The marketing is easy, quote unquote easy, and the distribution is wide. The key part of the business is the asset management. They're actually in the asset management business because they need to make sure they have enough inventory and cash to supply some of the purchase orders that they get from some of these large retailers who are really established. You need to go through checks and balances with Walmart to make sure that you're a good vendor and you can put up ETC, like put up certain conditions, ETC. And the fact that they have CVS, Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart shows that they have the asset management capabilities. And when you look at the balance sheet as well, it tells the same story where they've been able to match their sales with their accounts receivable. So they always have cash coming through. And they also have a great creditor system. So they're able to manage their dues and debts with manufacturers, etc. And they also generate sales organically without distributing more from new attachments, which is how I would look at the release that's going to come later. Is I would look at their production again, their marketing spend, their distribution channels, and how they're managing their balance sheet. And that kind of tells you the story. And so far, it looks good.
Very, very nicely done, TK. Shark Man, what are you saying there, Shark Man?
So let's start here from the beginning. We talked about this back in the day, that 63 cents support zone. Unfortunately, it broke. Things were looking really good, though. It looked like we were going to bounce and make new record highs, but we turned around and we closed below 63. And we've just been drifting down slowly. So let's forget about that. Let's forget about the past. It's about the future, and we want to look towards a bright future here. And I find it interesting now that you have earnings coming up. So I guess we can take two approaches here. We can take a fundamental approach or a technical approach here based just on the charts, but it may be a bit about something else, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But what I want to focus your guys' attention on is the stock did make record lows here on the 26th of November, hitting lows of 34.5 cents. but we closed 9% on that day. And technically, this pattern here, you have this long sort of wick and then this small little green body. And essentially, this is a very bullish candlestick. It's called a hammer. You can probably tell why it's called a hammer. I mean, it looks like a hammer. And generally, the way you use a hammer is you're hammering out the bottom. So we have seen a hammer candle here, which I think is quite a bullish sign. But going here at looking at the historical data, on that day we got the hammer, which was November 26, 2021, we had 1.2 million shares traded. And I did all the research here for you guys. I did scroll down, look at every single day of volume that the stock has been trading. And by far, this is the largest volume ever traded on Element Nutritional Sciences. So 1.2 million shares, the most shares traded on that stock for a single day there with a 9% pop. So there's someone buying or, a few people buying the stock, hammering out a bottom here. Maybe, I'm just saying, maybe earnings is going to be good, but this is generally how people like to use technicals. They like to see buyers getting in maybe before a big news event is going to come in. And when you have something like this, like, a very obvious sign, a hammer candle, 9% day, the most shares traded, maybe it's front running or looking at good news. So I'm very curious now to see how those earnings might turn out. And then I said, maybe you can approach this through the technical side there. And I'm talking about the retail traders. In general, we got news that Element Nutritional is going to be joining or will be hosting this Wall Street Bets conference today actually, November 30th, 2021 in Miami, Florida. So I guess in the next few days here, we're going to see if anything comes out of it. But the creator of Wall Street Bets, Jamie Rogozinski here commented that they're thrilled for Nutritional Sciences to be at the party. They align very well with the investor community's interest in high growth companies that have potential to significantly disrupt large and global markets. And he is looking forward to hear about Element's growth prospects and strategy directly from the CEO, who is going to be attending the Wall Street Bets to the Moon Party and Conference. So maybe there's a bit of a retail element that's going to be involved here. The retail crowd is always looking at interesting plays. And I think if they're looking at a stock, that's trading at 44 cents, they might get even a bit more interested, because I think that's basically how a lot of the Wall Street Bet stuff ended up going. It ended up with what started with larger cap, price stocks, and it started drifting to, some lower price stuff. So, I wouldn't put it past the retail crowd to maybe get an interest here on Element Nutritional Sciences. So just in summary, a very strong candle that's basically hammering out the bottom. You have a large amount of volume, and I find it intriguing that you have, again, either a conference and the retail crowd on one side, or you have maybe earnings coming up down the road here, and we're seeing someone accumulate or people accumulate some position here.
There might also be the geriatric element, since it's being held in South Florida, so they can literally be, amongst the people that might need.
Well, hopefully they give out samples, and then that will.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Let's go around the spinner here, and is this the time to say, heck yeah, I'll drop some do-si-do and see where it go? Chris is first.
Let's see what Wall Street Bets does. From AMC to GMC. Look, I think that it's a good time to be looking. I don't know that you necessarily need to go bet the house on it at this point, because tax loss selling season may make it really difficult to lift this boat. I would say that there's probably good news to come in the next few days with financials. I would almost definitely think that their revenues will be up. If the deal that they just announced is included in those financials, then great. It could be a really smart time to buy today. If not, if it takes another quarter for those to be wired in, then you're going to get through tax loss season. You're probably going to be struggling to get any sort of real upswing before January. But worth keeping a look, because look, this is a real company, does a real product. It's making money. It's not, making money hand over fist. But if anyone's ever tried to get a product on the shelf at Walmart, that ain't an easy job. Like, you've got to sell your soul to get on there. I've had friends that have confectionery companies that had to buy their way in. You got to go borrow money, give it to the drugstore, and then only then will the drugstore open up some space for you, because they got to kick someone else off. So the fact that this company has been able to find space in 16,000 stores is bonkers. Like, that in itself is worth a lot of money to me. If they're continuing to add stores and those stores aren't dropping them, really strong sign going forward, really bullish sentiment to me. And if they can add SKUs, if they can add products that are based on this initial burst and the marketing that goes with it, then honestly, like, I don't see where this has got any real solid risk. Now, that said, you've always got to look at things that go beyond just the share price, because that can be a little bit maybe disguise the true intents of things. But from a fundamental standpoint, from a market cap standpoint, this is a $40 million company as it stands. I like that price. I don't think that it's overpriced. I also don't think that it's really underpriced before we see what those new deals bring. But it's definitely, I would think, on the watch list. Should be on the watch list of anyone who's smart. It's plant-based stuff. It's sort of plant-based adjacent, which means that a good move in that sector can lift a whole lot of boats. I think there's good things to come. So how much of Rob's money would I put in? I'd hang out for the next week, maybe have $1,000 ready to shoot.
TK?
So before I give mine, I just want to give something brief that I just noticed here. The company, on top of the event that they're supposedly hosting today, their company is also spending, so they raised $5 million in May in 2021, and they laid out their budget. Majority of the spend went to marketing, so digital content, social media, paid media, and direct-to-consumer marketing. The other bulk of it went to investor relations, close to $900,000 of that pot. So they're trying to make investors aware of their presence, and those costs are not, I won't say one-time costs, but those costs are not long-term costs. Those are just things that they're doing now to get people more aware that the brand is there and their good business goodwill kind of aspects of it. So I put $1,000 and wait to see how some of the deals come through and see how they present themselves in the conference. They obviously have an initiative to try get more eyeballs to their platforms. So waiting for that to happen. $1,000.
I was just going to comment. Yeah, I was just going to comment on that too, because I was looking at their financial statements, and I do see quite the substantial increase in the advertising and marketing costs there. So they definitely want to get known out there. And for what I would do, Rob, I'm going to put in $1,000 now, just because I find it very intriguing with this hammer candle, the volume. Earnings is coming up, and this Wall Street party is coming up. So I think there's something going. Just, when someone's buying that much, or people are buying that much, you have a hammer candle, just technically that's looking pretty good. I just say 1,000 now because the way to play these hammer candles is actually you wait for a close above the body of the hammer candle, which is actually 45 cents. And you see, we actually tried to do that the day after, and it didn't succeed. So, it's not something that you just jump in because you see a hammer being created here. So I would just put in 1,000 now, and I think I just sit and watch. And if we do see a break and close above 45, likely maybe because of retail crowd or because of the earnings, I think I throw in 2K more, but on that break of 45.
How about that? All three guys in exact agreement. Not sure that's ever happened before, each throwing $1,000 at it. That's because they know there's live music and dancing at the Wall Street party in South Florida. So I'm excited about the whole prospect.
Starting in an hour and a half, man.
Before we go, I believe this will probably be Mr. TK's final ever investor roundtable, at least for this present run. And we wish you nothing but the best. It's been a lot of fun. You're like the Imelda Marcos her to shoes, you to glasses. You've got more cool sets of glasses.
I'll now come out and tell the truth. I have been trying to figure out my thing, and it's been the glasses. So I'm glad someone else. Never mind. Never mind. Chris has obviously taken the mantle now.
Well, we appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. So good luck on your next adventure.
No, thank you so much. It has been fun.
That said, folks, you have to do some homework on our advice. We don't really call it advice. We just call it education. In this case, on Element Nutritional Sciences, ELMT, on the Canadian Exchange. For Chris up there in the penthouse, for the noisy guy downstairs, TK, who will be noisy no more big bashes here in the basement, and Vishal up there in the far corner, Mr. Gold himself.
The Lord of the bedroom.
Yeah. We'll see you next time on the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.